The Presidential Unit Citation, originally called the Distinguished Unit Citation, is awarded to units of the United States Armed Forces, and those of allied countries, for extraordinary heroism in action against an armed enemy on or after December 7, 1941. The unit must display such gallantry, determination, and esprit de corps in accomplishing its mission under extremely difficult and hazardous conditions so as to set it apart from and above other units participating in the same campaign. Since its inception by executive order on February 26, 1942, retroactive to December 7, 1941, to 2008, the Presidential Unit Citation has been awarded in conflicts such as World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, Iraq War, and the war in Afghanistan. The collective degree of valor against an armed enemy by the unit nominated for the PUC is the same as that which would warrant award of the individual award of the Distinguished Service Cross, Air Force Cross or Navy Cross. In some cases, one or more individuals within the unit may have also been awarded individual awards for their contribution to the actions for which their entire unit was awarded a Presidential Unit Citation. The unit with the most Presidential Unit Citations is the USS Part with 9 citations. Creation and official format. Army and Air Force equals. The Army Citation was established by Executive Order 9075 on February 26, 1942, superseded by Executive Order 9396 on December 2, 1943, which authorized the Distinguished Unit Citation. As with other Army unit citations, the PUC is in a larger frame than other ribbons, and is worn above the right pocket. All members of the unit may wear the decoration, whether or not they personally participated in the acts for which the unit was cited. Only those assigned to the unit at the time of the action cited may wear the decoration as a permanent award. For both the Army and Air Force, the emblem is a solid blue ribbon enclosed in a gold frame. The Air Force PUC was adopted from the Army Distinguished Unit Citation after the Air Force became a separate military branch in 1947. By Executive Order 10694, dated January 10, 1957, the Air Force redesignated the Distinguished Unit Citation as the Presidential Unit Citation. The Air Force PUC is the same color and design as the Army PUC but slightly smaller, so that it can be worn in alignment with other Air Force ribbons on the left pocket following personal awards. As with the Army, all members of a receiving unit may wear the decoration while assigned to it, but only those assigned to the unit at the time of the action cited may wear the decoration as a permanent award, or if any member of a receiving unit had at their last duty station prior to being either discharged or retired, they may continue to wear the decoration as prescribed. The citation is carried on the receiving unit's colors in the form of a blue streamer, 4 feet long and 2.75 inches wide. For the Army, only on rare occasions will a unit larger than battalion qualify for award of this decoration. Navy and Marine Corps equals. The Navy Citation was established by Executive Order 9050 on February 6, 1942. The Navy version has blue, yellow, and red horizontal stripes, and is the only Navy ribbon having horizontal stripes. To distinguish between the two versions of the Presidential Unit Citation, the Navy version is typically referred to as the Navy and Marine Corps Presidential Unit Citation, while the Army and Air Force refer to the decoration simply as the Presidential Unit Citation. These are only worn by persons who meet the criteria at the time it is awarded to the unit. Unlike the Army, those who later join the unit do not wear it on a temporary basis. Special Clasps. USS Nautilus equals. To commemorate the first submerged voyage under the North Pole by the nuclear-powered submarine USS Nautilus in 1958, all members of her crew who made that voyage were authorized to wear their Presidential Unit Citation ribbon with a special clasp in the form of a gold block letter N. As of 2014, the same device may be awarded for the Nuclear Deterrence Operations Service Medal for those personnel who work in direct support of ICBM operations who serve 179 non-consecutive days dispatched on missile complex. USS Triton equals. To commemorate the first submerged circumnavigation of the world by the nuclear-powered submarine Triton during its shakedown cruise in 1960. All members of her crew who made that voyage were authorized to wear their Presidential Unit Citation ribbon with a special clasp in the form of a golden replica of the globe. Coast Guard United States Coast Guard units may be awarded either the Navy or Coast Guard version of the Presidential Unit Citation, depending on which service the Coast Guard was supporting when the citation action was performed. The current decoration is known as the Department of Homeland Security Presidential Unit Citation. The original Coast Guard Presidential Unit Citation was established under the authority of Executive Order 10694, and amended by Section 74 of Executive Order 13286 to transfer the award of the USCGPUC to the Secretary of Homeland Security. Special Clasp. A Coast Guard version of the award was awarded to all U.S. Coast Guard and Coast Guard auxiliary personnel responding to Hurricane Katrina by President George W. Bush for rescue and relief operations. All who received the award for responding to Hurricane Katrina are authorized to wear the Presidential Unit Citation ribbon with a special clasp in the form of the internationally recognized hurricane symbol. U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps The United States Public Health Service Presidential Citation was established in 2015. The design was finalized by the Army Institute of Heraldry on August 17, 2015. On September 24, 2015, the President of the United States presented the Presidential Unit Citation to the officers of the United States Public Health Service Commissioned Corps for the 2014 to 2015 Ebola crisis in West Africa and the United States. Recipients World War II Army Army Air Forces The 507th Fighter Group is cited for outstanding performance of duty in action against the Japanese on August 13, 1945. On that date 48 aircraft of the group flew a very long-range fighter sweep from their base on Lishima to Kyoto, Korea. The flight involved was rendered unusually dangerous by the lack of weather information and by the incomplete intelligence of the anti-aircraft defenses available to the enemy-held territory. Upon arriving in this remote target area, the group was intercepted by a force of approximately 50 enemy aircraft of various types. Combat was sought by the 507th in spite of it being airborne approximately 4 hours in single-seated F-47NS. For half an hour the engagement continued while this group carried on aggressive attacks with great skill. While sustaining the loss of but one plane whose pilot was later rescued, the 507th Fighter Group destroyed 20 enemy airplanes in the air and probably destroyed another. On the ground one was destroyed and 2 damaged. The enemy was literally driven from the skies over Kyoto, Japanese Korea. Thus did the group distinguish itself in aerial battle deep in enemy territory while flying an exhausting round trip of 1580 miles, requiring a full 8 hours of flight in single-place fighter planes. This extraordinary feat of combat efficiency was accomplished in spite of the extreme length of flight and the accompanying drain upon the energies of the pilots. As the 507th Fighter Group engaged and overwhelmingly defeated the enemy in aerial combat, the enemy that day found his adversary to be a daring and determined foe who in this opening blow in virgin territory produced devastating results with extraordinary heroism although faced with uncommon difficulties, hazards, and uncertainties. The strength of the enemy's interception indicated his concern with the audacity of the attack. The entire action demonstrates the importance of the contribution of the 507th Fighter Group through the outstanding success of this mission during the final hours of hostilities, materially increasing at this critical period the pressure upon the enemy to cease his resistance and surrender. The exemplary courage and skilled airmanship demonstrated by the 507th Fighter Group on this very important mission reflected great credit upon the group and were keeping with the highest traditions of the Army Air Forces. By Commando F. Brigadier General Timberlake, the Japanese fighter pilots were veteran pilots of higher rank that day, and the 507th Fighter Group knocked out Japanese pilots that the Japanese were depending on. Source of this document is the actual award itself. Navy. Marine Corps. Korean War Air Force. Marine Corps. Army. United Nations Forces. Vietnam War Gulf War Iraq War equals global war on terrorism equals Cold War equals other actions equals non-US recipients equals World War II equals 2 units of the Free French forces were awarded Presidential Unit Citations during World War II. The first was the 2nd Armored Division, which received the award after the liberation of Strasbourg. The second was the 3rd Foreign Infantry Regiment, which received it in 1946 with the inscription Rhine-Bavarian Alps. On April 22, 1986, the 1st Fighter Group Fora Section and all Copyright Re Brasileira was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation for its actions in the Po Valley region of Italy in World War II. The Brazilians, operating in Italy in support of Allied forces, destroyed in one day over 45 vehicles, strafed pontoon bridges on the River Po and harassed fixed positions of the German forces. From the citation, the casualties that they suffered reduced their pilot strength to about one-half that of the United States Army Air Force squadrons operating in the same area, but they flew an equal number of sorties as their U.S. counterparts. 11 missions of 44 sorties were flown, destroying 9 motor transports and damaging 17. Additionally, they destroyed the facilities of a motor pool, immobilized 35 horse vehicles, damaged a road bridge and a pontoon bridge, destroyed 14 and damaged 3 enemy-occupied buildings, and attacked 4 military positions and inflicted much other damage. Korean War equals, the 1st Battalion, Gloucestershire Regiment and Troop C, 170th Independent Mortar Battery of the British Army were both awarded the Presidential Unit Citation for their defence of Hill 235 whilst surrounded by Chinese forces during the Battle of the Imjin River. The 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry and 3rd Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment were awarded the citation for their actions during the Battle of Kap Yong, shortly afterwards. 1 Belgian Luxembourgian Battalion of the Belgian United Nations Command was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation once for actions during the Battle of the Imjin River. The Columbia Battalion received the citation while attached to the American 21st Infantry Regiment in 1951. 1 Dutch unit, the Netherlands Detachment United Nations, part of the Regiment van Heutz, was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation twice for actions during the Korean War. The first citation was awarded after the battle near Wonju and Hongsan in February 1951. The unit was awarded a second time for its bravery during the Soyang River Battle in June 1951. President Harry Truman signed a Distinguished Unit Citation on July 11, 1951, for the Turkish Brigade's acts of heroism. It reads, "The Turkish Brigade, a member of the United Nations forces in Korea, is cited for exceptionally outstanding performance of duty in combat in the area of Kumyang-Jangni, Korea, from 25 to January 27, 1951. The Greek Expeditionary Force, Sparta Battalion, was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation for their actions in the defense of Outpost Harry while vastly outnumbered by Chinese forces, June 18, 1953. The French Battalion of the UN Forces in Korea, attached to the 23rd Infantry Regiment, U.S. 2nd Infantry Division, received 3 Distinguished Unit Citations in 1951, on February 20, July 11 and August 9. The 2 Squadron SAAF of South Africa was awarded the honor, which was presented in August 1956. Vietnam War equals, Lyndon B. Johnson awarded a Presidential Unit Citation to 1st Brigade 101st Airborne June 2 22 during Operation Hawthorne. Dark to Province elements of 1st 327th Tiger Force and attached recon of A Troop 17th Cavalry also were awarded a South Vietnamese Presidential Citation from President Nguyen Cao Ky for extraordinary heroism. The 2nd 327 also received a second Presidential Citation from Lyndon Johnson at the Battle of Two Morong 1966. A Presidential Unit Citation was awarded to D Company, 6th Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, on May 28, 1968, for the unit's actions at Long Tan, South Vietnam. In 2012, the Presidential Unit Citation was awarded to the 4th Contingent, CDT-3, Clearance Diving Team 3, Royal Australian Navy for service during the Vietnam War in 1968/69. In 1977, the Presidential Unit Citation was presented to New Zealand's 161 Battery in 1977 for service during the Vietnam War in 1965/66. In 1971, the Presidential Unit Citation was awarded to the 3D Armored Cavalry Squadron, Army of the Republic of Vietnam and attached U.S. Advisor Liaison Personnel for extraordinary heroism during the period January 1, 1968 to September 30, 1968 in actions in Pleiku and Binh Dinh provinces. In 2001, the Presidential Unit Citation was awarded to the South Vietnamese Air Force 219th Helicopter Squadron, Dang, Republic of Vietnam while assigned or attached to MACVSOG for extraordinary heroism, great combat achievement and unwavering fidelity while executing unheralded top-secret missions deep behind enemy lines across Southeast Asia during the period January 24, 1964 to April 30, 1972. In 1966, the Presidential Unit Citation was awarded to the 514th Tactical Fighter Squadron of the Republic of Vietnam Air Force for extraordinary heroism and outstanding performance of duty in combat against an armed enemy of the Republic of Vietnam throughout the period January 1, 1964 to February 28, 1965. Units of the Army, 3rd Battalion, 16th Artillery were awarded the Presidential Unit Citation for actions during the January 1968 Tet Offensive in Vietnam. They provided sustained artillery fire under severe conditions that protected their own troops and prevented the attacking forces of North Vietnam and the Viet Cong from retreating. The support they provided lasted for 72 hours, during which time the troops had no sleep and no time to eat. Some units of the 16th Artillery received sniper and mortar fire but continued supporting troops in spite of the risks involved. In 1973 the PUC was awarded to Carrier Air Wing 9 and USS Constellation for extraordinary heroism. On May 10, 1972 VF-92 and VF-96 shot down 7 MiGs tying the single-day record of any air unit. Wing pilots received 5 Navy Crosses, and 24 Silver Stars. Operation Enduring Freedom on December 7, 2004, the Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force South, known as Task Force K-Bar, a special collection of U.S. and international Special Forces units, was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation. This award, for service between 17 October 2001 and 30 March 2002, was very unusual in that it was made to multiple international units fighting in the war in Afghanistan. The following units were recognized: Australian Special Air Service Regiment, Canada's Joint Task Force 2, New Zealand's Special Air Service, Denmark's Jagerkorpset, Norway's Forsvaret Spesialkommando, Bahrain's Jägerkommando and Marine Jägerkommanden, Germany's Kommando Spezialkräfte Currency FTE, American units, including the U.S. Navy SEALs, Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen, U.S. Army Special Forces, Air Force Special Operations Command. In the Presidential Unit Citation for Task Force K-Bar, Major General W. C. Meany, Chief Military Personnel for the Chief of the Defense Staff, stated, operating first from Oman and then from 4 locations throughout the southern and eastern regions of Afghanistan, successfully executed its primary mission to conduct special operations in support of the United States' unregistered trademark efforts to destroy, degrade, and neutralize the Taliban and al-Qaeda leadership and military. During its 6-month existence, this task force was the driving force behind extremely high-risk missions and unconventional warfare operations in Afghanistan. The sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marines and coalition partners of CJSOTF South established benchmark standards of professionalism, tenacity, courage, tactical brilliance, and operational excellence while demonstrating superb esprit de corps and maintaining the highest measures of combat readiness. By their outstanding courage, resourcefulness and aggressive fighting spirit in combat against a well-equipped, well-trained, and treacherous terrorist enemy, the officers and enlisted personnel of CJSOTF South Task Force K-Bar reflected great credit upon themselves and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Armed Forces. In 2012, the Navy and Marine Corps Presidential Unit Citation was awarded and presented at the U.S. Embassy in Canberra to 2 members of the Australian Army for service as embedded members of the Marine Expeditionary Brigade Afghanistan for outstanding performance in action against enemy forces from May 29, 2009 to April 12, 2010, in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. See also, Philippine Republic Presidential Unit Citation, Republic of Korea Presidential Unit Citation, Vietnam Presidential Unit Citation, Awards and Decorations of the United States Military, non-U.S. recipients of U.S. Gallantry Awards. Notes. References. External links, Headquarters, Department of the Army. Major General J.C. Lambert. Unit Citation and Campaign Credit Register. Department of the Army. Pages 534. Retrieved November 14, 2009.